Welcome back to a new episode of the Weißsteiner show. I'm happy that you take time to listen to this podcast because I know time is your most valuable asset, and that you dedicate this time to my podcast like for half an hour. This means very, very much to me. Thank you very much. I hope this podcast provides you some deeper connection to yourself. I really hope that you have a nice place where you can listen to this. If you and your brain is faster in taking in the information, then just put the speed of the podcast of this video to 1.5 or even 2, so you can double the speed and listen to it faster. But I speak very slowly because I want to speak from my inside, from a higher perspective than from my ego or my personality. Because no matter what you think about me, I have my personal history. I had good experiences, bad experiences, and all these experiences and decisions led me to who I am right now. And I'm very happy that I'm able to speak here to you and give you my insights about being present, about being aware of what's happening around me. A lot of times we just react to stuff. We don't take the time to feel if that's something we need to take care of, or if it's just some meaningless situation or some meaningless interaction with people. Especially in this time, I get like messages, direct messages every day where people suggest try this, do that, invest to this, invest to that. This podcast wants not to be something like this. This podcast wants to open your experiences. This podcast wants to open your body, your beingness, to experience itself and experience all the thoughts you process, all the different external environment which is perceived by your body. And this bunch of opinions, this load of information you receive every day, it's necessary to take care of what is going inside your brain. How do you feed your brain with what thoughts? And do you take the time to think it's not really thinking, but do you take the time to feel what you think? To really be connected with what you're saying, how you're reacting, what you're believing. It's hard to practice this on a daily basis in every situation, because we need to take action, we need to do something, of course. You need to survive. This is, your most important thing to do. This podcast wants to make you wider and open your experience, so you are able to step back and watch your decisions, watch your thoughts coming through you, going through you. Because there's no need to believe in every thought that comes. There's so much noise coming to us and wanting our attention, wanting our focus. Like the topic we talked about in the previous episode 85. It's so important that you take care and watch where you're focusing on. Because if you don't take control of your focus, somebody else will do. Somebody else will take your focus. Somebody else will take your attention. And that's why I'm so thankful that you're listening to this podcast. I don't want to sell you anything, and if I put some links in the description, that's only because I think that's also very helpful for you to make a step towards a greater consciousness. I don't want to sell you anything. If you take the opportunity and go for it, very nice. You have a big potential to grow and make progress in this. But if you have connection and access to this higher consciousness, to this higher awareness, to this alert attention to what's going on, then you don't need anything more, because of course you can practice this behavior and you can practice to be more aware. But there's your physical limit to this. Not in time, but the experience. You can then also begin to identify with this experience and think you're some yogic spiritual teacher. You can go this route, but we have also some things to do in our reality, in our life we have in front of us, our personal life. And for this we need to take certain actions, we need to do stuff, we need to plan things. And in the previous episode we talked about how we can take control, how we can organize our life, so to say, around these topics, around the different areas of life. Everybody has relationships to other human beings. I'm talking about a fulfilled life, and in a fulfilled life you have people around you you love, you have relationships, and the whole quality of your life comes down to the quality of your relationships. Of course you can be alone in a cave, but this doesn't sound like the most fulfilling life. There are more areas you need to take care of. You need a certain amount of money, of course, to pay your rent, to have a shelter, to have to have food. That's something that's very nice, and it's very good if you can achieve this. And for this you need to take certain actions in your life. And we're getting better in this. I think you can have the most happy life if you combine all these different areas of your life and experience some alignment between these areas. And in this moment of time, like we talk a lot about this, but it's just what's going on right now. There is so much noise, there is so much dysfunction. Of course, if you more focus on that, you will see more dysfunction and you will hear more dysfunction, you will experience more dysfunction. And that's why I created this podcast, because I want to wake you up and let you decide where you want to focus on. You can also focus on what's good. You can focus on what's the good thing in it, what you can learn from it, and where you want to lead, in which direction you want to send your focus. And that's not easy in our day-to-day life, because right now I'm hearing so many voices, so many sounds from the external life, and that's confusing me too. I mean, I'm not enlightened. I'm enlightened to some degree, but I'm not done with this process. I'm still on this process. And I see a great connection to a greater source where I speak from. Right now I don't speak from my personal history or all my experiences. I mean, to a great degree I do, but I try to see everything from another perspective, from a higher perspective, from a wider space. And to access this realm, this greater space, is liberating and freeing your mind. It's freeing your mind from this excessive thinking and identifying with everything that's around you. And then you can see life how it is. I mean, there are still limits. You cannot hear better than you hear, you cannot see better than you see. But you can give your hearing, you can give your seeing full attention, and you will see stuff you haven't seen before. Like, let's do a little experiment here. Look around in your room right now. Look around and see everything that's brown. Search for it. What is brown here? You see a desk, you see a table, you see a chair, you see a bottle. And now close your eyes, open your eyes, and now search for everything that's red. And did you find more red than brown? It's like you can decide what to focus on. And if you focus on the negative stuff, if you focus on stuff that doesn't work in your life, on stuff that's pulling your attention away from the real goal you have, then you have no focus on the stuff you want to achieve actually, and you will not make a greater progress in reaching this stuff, in reaching whatever you want to achieve. And in this podcast I'm telling you to achieve something, to do something, but that's not the main thing I want to show you in this podcast. I want to be a gateway for you to have a greater experience of the present moment, of the beingness. Because from this beingness, you can actually see and decide where you want to go from your heart. And I know we all have this distraction and this sound in our head which wants to pull our attention away. And it's hard at the beginning to even get started, to make a plan, to organize yourself. If you haven't done this, it's not so easy to get started with something new, with some new belief system, with some new belief structure. But you can create this in your brain, and the more you practice this, the stronger you get. It's the same with building a muscle. At the beginning you see nothing. Like I said in the previous podcast, maybe to a certain degree I talk about the same in every episode. But that's what is there. And if you take the time to see yourself, to see what you're thinking, to see what you're doing, you put more attention to it, and there is a chance you have a better impact than you had before. If you're unconscious and just react to things, you also create an enormous amount of suffering. And why would you do that if you have the chance to be more conscious of everything you do? And you know me right now, if you watch some episodes, you know I want to achieve something. And it's good to achieve something. But it's necessary to see that's not about the things you achieve or you get. It's about the beingness. Just accept things as they are. If you fight what's there in the current moment, you create suffering in yourself, unnecessary suffering in yourself. Everything you experience inside yourself. Like you can see your eyes as a camera lens, which is seeing stuff, which is seeing a camera, which is seeing light, which is seeing a chair, which is seeing the ground, walls, water, bottles. But where is this stuff created? And where is this stuff labeled? Where are the sounds labeled? They are labeled in your head. And of course some sounds maybe for you sound good or bad. Some things look nice, some things don't look nice. But where is this decision made? Who makes this decision that this looks nice, this looks not nice? It's always created inside yourself. And yeah, there is your personal sense of consciousness and decision making, and there's a global sense of, or a common sense, from the community you're living in, from all the people on the world. We see some stuff through the same eyes, or we hear some stuff through the same ears, but we also see them differently. Some people think it's beautiful, some people think it's the worst thing that is there. But how do we make this decision that something is good or something is bad? A lot of it has to do with our personal history, with our beliefs. If you believe this is distracting, this is annoying, this sound, then you feel distracted and annoyed by this sound. But if you say, okay, there is a sound, see it as it is. You don't have to label it. I mean, it's there. We can live with it. You can still breathe. You can still talk. You can still do your stuff. And maybe even you forget about it and focus on something else. That's the power of your decision making. That's the power of your focus. And I love to do this, like spiritual entering to a wider space where you stop giving everything a label or a concept. And I think meditation is just about that. It's about connecting to a higher force, to a higher spirit, to a higher consciousness, and forgetting about labels, even sometimes forgetting about your name, forgetting about who you are. And at the beginning, maybe you only have glimpses of this experience. Maybe you can hold this energy or this vast energy for a short period of time, but you can practice it if you take time for that. If you want to have a more spiritual, a more peaceful life, it's very good to do that. And for this I create this podcast. I want to support you in your personal life, in everything you can achieve. But I also want to speak to you from a perspective you can collect yourself again. You can enter your center and act from this perspective. Because if you only react to stuff as your conditioned mind, you will always produce the same outcome. You will always have the same results. And if you're unhappy and depressed, you believe your old thought patterns if they are unhappy and depressed, if they are fearful and angry. And as you realize to come here into your real life, you will understand that being here in this room, in this environment, is not always as laying in your bed and watching a video on your phone. Because when you're in your warm bed, under your blanket, and you watch a video of somebody doing training, then you think, oh, very nice, that sounds that looks easy, that looks very possible. But to actually get out of your bed, to enter a gym, to go running, doesn't feel always that warm and soft, because that's actually hard. But then you can think about for what reason you are here on this planet. Are you here to don't use your body, to lay around, to just think of everything as a concept and think of everything that's possible, or to actually experience it, to actually wake up in your dream, which people call their dream, but it's actually their life, it's your life. As you sit there and listen to my words, it's your life while you're listening to this podcast. This is your life. You're in a body right now. The body might have a certain age. Maybe you experience good stuff and bad stuff with your body, but that's the current situation. You're inside your body. You have certain relationships, as we talked before, and everything that is, you created in your life, you have in your life. And as you realize that, you have also the chance to have a better and greater impact to your surrounding, to your environment. You actually realize that you can take action to create a different outcome, to create a different life. And even if it's not perfect at the beginning, like this podcast, as you watch my first episodes, I created them with my phone. I don't even had a camera to record my podcast. And that's fine too. I just did it. There was no need to do it. But for myself, for me, there was a need to do it. That's why I did it. And it's out there. You can watch these episodes. I can have an impact to people. I can really impact the life of people if they listen to the words and understand that they can create something different, that they can act different, that they don't need to believe everything they believed years and years ago, that there is no need to believe the thoughts your parents thought of, or the belief system your parents had. You don't need to live with their belief system. I mean, you can accept it that they had this level of consciousness and lived by their beliefs, and maybe some beliefs are even good. To drink water, for example, to stay hydrated. Isn't it liberating to feel and understand that you are actually the experience, and where you put your focus on, that stuff you will experience more, and this will grow. That's the nature of life. If you focus on something and put your consciousness on something, this will get bigger in your brain, in your head, in your feeling. You will feel that way. And to get better in have this heart, mind, body connection makes you to a more fulfilled human being. Because you know this, if you buy something new, if you buy a car, if you buy, no matter what you buy, this stuff will not make you happy forever. But who you become on the process, who you become learning new things, getting a better relationship to yourself and to others, being more helpful for others, this will actually make you more of who you are, and let have you a greater impact. And you maybe realize now a lot of stuff I'm telling you in this podcast is actually the same. It's about realizing the process, it's about learning and growing, it's about being in the present moment and decide from there, decide a little bit more objective and step out of your current belief structure. And everything I tell you here is only a sign, it's only a pointer. The words are only pointers to the experience, because the experience cannot be described by words. You actually need to feel it. But if you listen to this podcast right now, I know that there is somebody, you are listening to this, you are feeling this, the inner voice you have. And this inner voice is talking to you all the time. This inner voice is representing your belief structure. This inner voice is representing and talking to you everything you believe in, everything you trust in. And a lot of this stuff, if you're not conscious about it, is very negative or even destructive. And I want to give you the power back to see what beliefs you are believing in. Then you can create also the future you want. You can create something different than you created all the time right now. And that's why I think this podcast or this audio, this video is so valuable. This has so much value for you, because everything you have, you can use differently. You can use for better now, for a better future, for a better feeling in your body. Because, like, for example, if you don't have the body you want, if you have too many kilos on your body, if you too fat, you already know how to change that, or it's not that complex. You know that you need to move, you need to run, for example, to eat healthier, drink more water, stop drinking sugar drinks all the time. I mean, it's not that hard to understand that, right? But why are you not doing it? In the first place, maybe it's not that important for you. You feel healthy, you feel okay, you're in your comfort zone, you're very fine the way you are, and you don't complain about it. Then there is no need to change anything. But if you have this thought or this call that you need to change something with your body, that you need to be more healthy, that you want to have a more energized life, a more energized body, that you maybe live longer if you take more care about your body. If you have this realization, then there is a must arising, not a should. And if you have this must, I must drink more water and stop drinking beer, cola. And then you will change, because you realize, okay, for a better life, for more future, for more time in my life, for a healthier life, for more energy in my body, I actually need to change this stuff. And this doesn't mean that you have to stop everything and live like a perfect human being, like a Superman who is only drinking water, who is never doing any mistake, because then you need to realize that you're only a human being. And human beings make mistakes. And why not accept that? If you don't accept that, you will create you will create suffering again in your life. So accept everything that happens. And if you did something you don't expect anymore from yourself, then don't complain about yourself. Don't complain about your existence. Don't complain about your parents who maybe put certain belief systems in your life. You are here now. And you can decide. It's you. You have the responsibility right now. Or who is living your life? Or who owns you? You own yourself. So take back the control. Take back control that you have. I know you can do this. It's not the most easy thing to do, because a lot of times we have thoughts and beliefs we already believe for years and years, and they are so burned into our brains, in our nervous cells in the brain. There is such a connection in your mind that this belief pops up, and it's so hard to create a new belief. But we humans are made to understand this. Otherwise you would not listen to this, right? And think about it. Think about one thing that you didn't accept in your life anymore. In an instant, you said, not anymore. No more. I don't accept this. Not anymore. And you changed it. What happened there? You become wider, there become more space. You understood and realized that the current belief is not supportive enough, or doesn't support you anymore, and it's time to create some new belief. And to have this experience not only once, maybe every day, it's on you. Give more attention to what you're doing, what you're saying to yourself. We're talking a lot about focus. We are talking a lot about the same stuff, but I try to reach you through different directions, because not everybody understands or feels the words I talk to you. Because I am also coming from a community, a country where my beliefs are formed, where my words, where my language were learned and formed. And it's already some kind of universal, because, or let's say some kind of worldwide, because I can use a language most people on the earth understand. Not most people, but a big amount of people speak English. For example, if I do this podcast only in German, it's hard to reach people who don't speak German, right? And now you may be asking yourself, okay, nice, I'm here in this present moment. I see everything. I don't judge everything anymore. I see it as it is. But what should I do then? I mean, I cannot just sit around and enjoy the things that are there, enjoy the physical material that's around here. I mean, first of all, you can do this, and if you create your life out of this experience, you will have a much more aligned life, much more fulfilled, much more in the center of your experience. You're much more in the center of your experience. And then if you label something or judge something, you see that also. You can see that. You see Okay, I was doing it again. I judge this. I judge this person. I judge this thing that's appearing in my eyes and so on in my consciousness. So that's the thing where you can take your power back, because you understand everything that you judge and say it's not valuable or it's not worth it, you will not use in any form or way, because you already put it in Deutsch Schublade, you already put it into a box. Okay, it's that, fuck it. You don't give it any more attention to maybe see its value or think about how you can use it in your life. And if you develop a mindset, if you develop a alert attention to things that are there, a gratitude, to be thankful about stuff, you can also switch your thoughts in a way where you can see the value of it and think about it, how you can use it and love it and love a person. And I don't mean in an intimate way. I mean you can love anybody here on this planet, every person. If you are open to this, you can see a person as, oh, I'm a human, he's also a human. That's very nice. We're from the same kind. We can help each other. We can create something. For example, people on the earth have hunger. They have not enough food. So we can do something about it. Or even start in your community. What do the people need in your direct community, in your direct environment? And start there. What do they want? What do they need? You can give them more value. You can give them your attention. You can offer them your help. And if you do so, you will also get something back. And I don't mean like only in money form. You also get something back for inside yourself, because you know you did the right thing. But how do you know that you did the right thing, you will ask? You will know it because it feels good. Did you ever give somebody something where you before thought, oh, that's mine, I need to keep it for myself, this is mine, this is only mine, but then you shared it? How did that feel? I want to awaken you that you much more pay attention to your experience and see where you put your focus on, how do you use your body also, and how do you talk to yourself. What meaning do you give to things? Do you see things valuable and important and helpful? Or do you think everything is destructive, everything is bad, everything is ugly? It's your decision. And in that way you create your life. I'm very, very thankful that you took your most valuable asset, your focus, your time, into this podcast episode. And if you think this message can help anybody in your community, in your circle, then share it. And be on your own the light of consciousness, the light of awareness, the light of attention how people treat each other, how people talk to each other, how people behave. And you don't need to judge it, see it as it is, and don't think that you are better only because you realized some stuff. Because if the other human would have your level of consciousness, he would maybe don't do some stuff. If he would not believe into some negative beliefs or have some illusions about things, he would also be more conscious and more present and use language different and act different. Feel for them, have compassion for them. That will change your life radically. I'm so happy that you took the time to listen to this podcast, and I hope I see you next time. Also, comment below please if you need any suggestion, or if you have any suggestion, for example about implementing some planning into your life, to not only sit around and be like a spiritual teacher meditating all the time. But as you see, what yoga means really, or what meditation does to your body, you know that this is arising in humanity right now. And that's a very good way to connect to this awareness, to connect to this consciousness. If you're doing this, that's a way of meditation. If you listen to this video, if you listen to this podcast right now, if you listen to this audio, if you listen to my voice, then you did this also in a meditative state. Because you heard the words, but you centered yourself inside your body. And start with your breathing. Realize your breathing. Realize the feeling in your hands. And then you become more alive inside your body. You feel your body much more. And you act much more from inside to outside than to only react to the external stuff. Thank you very much for listening and paying attention. Pay attention to your life and your environment. Thank you, and see you next time.
This product is brought to you by Unknown Brain. Thank you for listening. Love you all.